All right, welcome. I'm here with Diane Kazer, the Hormone Warrior. Welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thanks, Ian. Good to be here with everyone. And you?
All right, thank you. Well, let me just kick off a short bio of you. You used to be a pro soccer player, and you turned functional diagnostic nutritional practitioner, holistic health coach, and you're also, is this trademark, the Hormone Warrior?
I don't know. I should, I guess.
Yeah, definitely trademark that. So you're a game changer in the world of women's health, hormones, and detoxing, empowerment, and self-love. And clients come to you from all around the world to ditch their health roadblocks and discover their soul goal, which is what I love. And welcome, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I love talking about souls.
All right, so let's get into that, because before we actually get into the souls, what is the number one issue that you see with women nowadays that they don't even know is the problem? Like what's going on? Because I have a ton of women clients, and they have issues with their gut. They're having a hard time losing weight. They're doing everything to try to lose the weight, right? So they come in, they work out, they think they're eating right, but still the fat is staying on them. Mm-hmm. And so what's going on here?
Mm-hmm. I would say it's self-love deficiency, okay. Vitamin me deficiency. And when I back this up to vitamin me, I also mean vitamin Mother Earth, which spells me. Mm. So when we look at, I want everybody to think about just for a moment, look at the status of our Mother Earth. Look at the status of our world.
Yeah.
Look at the level of disarray and disrespect. Like we cannot ignore Mother Earth's health without considering our own, because we're correlated, as above, so below. So right. We are a product of our environment, and we're also co-creating our surrounding at the same time.
Yeah.
So look at Mother Earth. I mean, I don't know if your listeners know this. They're probably pretty aware, but there's a size of Texas mass of plastic that lives in the Pacific Rim between here, where I live in San Clemente, Orange County, and Hawaii.
Wow.
It's disgusting. And we don't think twice about it. Yeah, plastic use is convenient, but if we don't focus on our health mm-hmm. instead of what's easy, then we are going to eventually have to deal with what's more difficult, and that's going to cost us money in the long run. And a lot of people are like, yeah, that won't happen to me, but we're invincible. We're definitely invincible. And that's what I have learned in working with my own struggles, as well as thousands of women all around the world. We are suffering when our planet suffers. Mm-hmm. And what I noticed, and I've just been through a crazy journey where I just removed my breast implants, and it's like, whoa, my whole world just opened up to me, and it's been amazing. Right. So the amount of deficiency of self-love that we have for ourselves is directly correlated to our self-worth. So if we don't feel like we're worth providing and giving to ourselves and nourishing our soul, then we are codependent on the outside world, on doctors to fix us, on spouses to love us in ways that we can't. Right. We're going to depend on our children to give us purpose because we lack our own. So, right. And then we look into our career to feel like we're getting something done, or our to-do list, but we're largely deficient in this huge hole inside of us that only we can fulfill.
So you're talking about like super root cause foundational stuff, because if you are doing those things, then you're going to take care of like what I want to talk to you about next is toxicity. And speaking about plastic, like plastic is everywhere. You have plastic inside of you, and what those toxins are actually doing to the body, you won't be aware of it, or you won't even think about it, right?
Yeah, if you don't have, and I love talking about the many aspects of ourself. Like we can actually take our future self and talk to our past self and have a conversation. Mm-hmm. We have everything we need inside. So if we learn how to channel certain parts of ourselves that are like, you know what, right now you are an asshole. You are a piece of crap. You should just not go out in society because you're going to ruin everything. It's like there's that voice. It's like, whoa,
yep.
There's that puppet, there's that imposter. That is not you. Yep. That is a voice that you've learned from programming. And there's another voice that's like your future self that's like, hey, listen, we got our dreams happening over here, and you are destroying everything. You are sabotaging everything. We want to have this life. We want to have this love. We want to have this laughter. We want to have this liberation, and you're ruining it for us. So there are parts within us that can have a conversation with other parts, and learning to rescue ourselves from the disaster that is impending. We look at our past. That is our predictor of our future, unless we can get our act together. And we can say, wait, whoa, who is this voice and who is this person inside of me that is not protecting me? So once you realize that your body is your greatest vessel, and that without our health, we don't have anything, and that really what the cost of not paying attention is, then we start to wake up and we start to defend ourselves. It's like, if we allow it's called boundaries, Ian.
Yeah.
It's called being a boundary badass. Like, no, I will not let gluten. I will not let plastic. I will not let parabens. I will not let pesticides. I will not let toxic people around my sphere, because I love myself so much, and I know my worth, and I know what my soul is here to do, and I know what my mission is here, that these things, no, I will not allow them anymore. And I will not allow. Society. What's that?
And won't let society, because it's like not cool to like
right.
be really healthy, right?
Yeah. Oh God. I still hear this from clients, like, oh, I'm gonna be that person that's super picky. You know, I'm gluten free, I'm dairy free. Can you please can you please do these things for me when you bring this order? Let's work together to find something that works for my body. I still tried once in a while to have soy or gluten. My body's like, yeah, no, remember? Just because I don't want to look like I'm a bother. But like, so many of us are apologizing for our mere existence. And that is when you know that you are vitamin D deficient, and that you are begging for self-love and self-worth.
Right. Totally. So, so when people take full responsibility and accept kind of these things, what do doctors' roles? How do they play in this scenario? Because now all of a sudden you have responsibility for yourself, and you're no longer saying the doctor should do everything or become dependent on the doctor. And where is the doctor's place in all of this? Because a lot of people go there first when they're in this type of situation where they're toxic or feel sick or something.
Yeah. So I felt the need to just kind of go like this when you said this, doctors should. It's like, I want to take a huge step back with everyone, take a breath, and ask the question, what are the shoulds? What are the shoulds in my life that I'm carrying around in my mind? Right. This is so huge, Ian. A doctor should heal me. A doctor should fix me. Right. A mom should love me this way. Right. My spouse should be there for me in this way. Yeah. My friends should not include me. My friends should not exclude me from things. We carry around so many rules, and expectations are what creates our disappointment. So this is what I hear over and over again. And this is truly the definition of insanity. This has to stop. We've got to wake up to this. We have to wake up, or else we are going to die, literally.
Right. Yeah.
So the Dr. Treadmill, right? And like, this is one of the number one myths that we're constantly drilling into women's minds until they get it, which it takes a lot of falling. It takes a lot of failure. It takes a lot of realizing that, oh, I'm that powerful that I don't need someone to fix me. So we go, okay, this is the programming. I've got hormonal symptoms. I'm exhausted. I can't get pregnant. I don't have a sex drive. I've got crazy PMS. I feel like I'm a crazy person. And then now I'm starting to retract into my own shell, because I'm like, I'm broken. I have to go to this doctor or this sick care system that is also broken. So how can we fix our brokenness if we go to a place that's broken also?
Yeah, we're going to think about.
Yeah, it's a perpetual cycle. We will attract things into our life that are broken as long as we carry a belief about ourselves that we are broken.
Right.
So
and
we go to something
that's not meant to get you healthy.
Right.
Yeah. So it's in the opposite direction a lot of times.
Right. Here's a temporary Band-Aid, which makes me a lot of money because I get profits from compliance from my patients. 60 to 70% of my patients need to be on these medications for me to actually get bonus from these prescription medications. And this is a known thing.
Yeah.
It's just how it works. You know, healthcare today is a system. It's a for-profit system.
Right.
And so, of course, it's all in our face. So we really have to question the programming, the TV shows, the programs that we watch, right, and the news and the fear-based media that says you need to fear for your life because that's how we profit from you based on this mindset. So this is not for everybody. If you want to stay asleep, if you want to believe that doctors are going to fix you, then you are going to stay on the treadmill. But it takes a long time, perhaps, or maybe an interview like me and Ian, one day going, okay, I can learn from these people. I can learn from these other people's mistakes that when I go to the doctor, they're going to hand me a drug at best.
Right.
There's no discussion about nutrition. They may say reduce stress, but like, what the heck does that mean? You know, yeah. Like reduce stress. Okay. Exercise more, eat less, eat healthier, drink more water. We all know those things, but why are we still not doing it?
Right.
And it's because most of us are numbed out from these medications. And so that's what we see all day long. People go to the doctor, they get prescriptions, which are extraordinarily toxic. And I am not going to argue the fact that these drugs can save lives temporarily. But the problem is when we're on them for years at a time, like birth control, one of the most toxic substances known to women.
Yep.
Breast implants, no studies done to prove that these things are safe, none.
Yep.
So the things that are being put into our bodies do not have long-term studies. In fact, birth control, there's a 2 to 3 times higher risk of suicide and depression.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes, Accutane, oh yeah.
Yeah, which we both got put on.
Still, and like here, I hear your terminology and I go, we both got put on, and it's true. Like, you know, it's kind of a victim way of saying it, right? Like, someone put me on this drug. It's like, well, we could have said no, but we just didn't know better then. And you know what? Thank you, doctor, for putting me on Accutane because it woke me up.
Yeah.
Thank you. So if we could look at everything from a victorious stance, like this happened for me, not to me, right, then we can start to reclaim our sovereignty, our sensuality, our sexuality, our spirituality, and our connection to our soul. So yay.
It was necessary.
It was necessary. It was absolutely necessary for us to go, wait a second. I'm not going to PTFD and point the finger at the doctor to fix me. I'm going to point the finger, responsibility. I can fix me? That's scary, but wholly empowering.
Exactly, yeah. So full responsibility and acceptance. And I love that you talked about, people have expectations, and expectations, just the feeling of expectations is a lack of acceptance, and that is toxic to the body, right?
Yes.
And so toxicity, we're talking about not only chemicals, but you're talking about the stuff that you watch on TV, which is toxic. So can we talk about things that are toxic that are affecting, you are the hormone warrior, so toxicity that is affecting your hormones?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is so big. So every single person listening to this, I want you to hear this first. Blood tests will not get you anywhere if you're looking for root cause reasons why you feel the way that you do, which is not your highest self. And you have this beautiful thing called intuition. And your intuition helps you see inside of yourself. And it's like this x-ray that your soul goes in and says, whoa, does not resonate. And you're like, yeah, well, I'm going to override that with my ego, like, logic, whatever, programming. So your intuition is always speaking to you, but it's up to you whether or not you listen to your intuition or you listen to your insecurity. One is from the ego, one's from your soul. So we have to have that conversation when we're talking about toxicity, because you can be your worst toxin too by not listening to yourself, right? Yeah. Because you have those naysayers, those friends that are like, oh, just go to the doctor. Oh, just eat the gluten. Oh, stop being crazy. Like, those are not friends. Those are people who are not listening to their intuition also, right? So that's where people can be extremely toxic around you too. An empowering soul says, there's probably a reason why your body is saying this to you. There's a voice inside of you, and taking the time to really sit back and go, have I had this text message a lot of times from my intuition? Like, when am I going to listen to it? And how do I listen to it? So we help women learn to listen to their intuition so they can climb above the insecurity, because so many of us are in the space of the unknown. I don't know who to listen to, which is the voice of what, right? So toxicity comes from a multitude of places, and our hormones today should never be judged based on a blood test that a doctor runs on you for a couple of different reasons. So I've gone down this path. I've been on this path for 25 years now, knowing that it was my thyroid that was the problem, but they kept telling me everything's in range and normal. And I was like, but I know intuitively at the age of 17, it's not normal, and ended up on birth control and on antibiotics because of urinary tract infections, and ended up on tons and tons of Accutane, as you and I both know, lots of topical things. And this whole time my body was just like spewing volcanic ash.
What age were you when this happened?
I was 17 when I had awful PMS, which is my body's way of going alert, not numb me out with birth control. Every symptom that your body is speaking to you in the language of symptoms, this is your body saying to you, I love you. Symptoms are self-love. Wake up, not numb out.
Yeah.
Right? So I started with birth control at that age because I had awful PMS. I didn't know better. Then I ended up on like pain pills. Then I ended up on, I wanted a thyroid medication because I thought it was my thyroid. But then, yeah, Accutane was age 18 and then 19 because it didn't resolve. And then it did. But then now I'm still paying the consequences of it. Like there are some drugs that just have, they have untreatable reactions, such as the hypothalamus. When we take Accutane and these kinds of drugs that we just don't think twice about and don't do the research because the doctor just says here, and we trust them, but before we trust our own self. And the hypothalamic cells, there's a lot of cells that die when we take these kind of medications. It's chemo to the body. We just are not told that. So we really need to wake up and ask the right questions. Before we just take a pill, we need to ask the questions of what could happen long term, and not WebMD. These places are not going to give you the long-term consequences because they don't have the studies for them. But you can take advice from people like me and Ian to say, yeah, it absolutely can destroy your body, but there's a different root cause underneath all of that. The toxicity of your acne would be what I see quite often, which is the number one bacteria that I see in women with breast implants anyway, that there is specific types of bacteria. Yeah, this is what I found in my pathology report, Ian, is that there's a bacteria that actually is like something acne, da-da-da-da. It's like a long word, but it actually has, the second word is like bacterium acne, da-da-da-da-da. And they found this with pretty much 10 bacteria in every woman that has breast implants that are 100%. 10 different types of bacteria in every woman with breast implants, and one of them was this specific acne one. Wow. So we can't get rid of the acne without addressing the reason why, the bacteria. First of all, antibiotics are not going to destroy them because, as you and I both know, antibiotics go through and kill the good bugs too. We have to ask the question, what is welcoming in these bugs? What is the source that is welcoming in these types of bacteria, parasites, viruses, candida? So we can't just go after the bugs. The bugs, yes, they are toxicity. They are the toxins. But when we go through and kill that, let's say candida, for example, many people will go on, and this is what I try to circumvent with all of the clients that we work with, is like, you can't just go on a candida cleanse. You can't just go on a parasite cleanse. You can't just go after bacteria. You have to ask the question of why are they there, and what is the terrain that has been welcoming them in? Why have they been so welcome? Because candida, you go on a candida killing spree, and they release and off-gas 78 plus different types of toxins. So that, plus then you go, maybe some people are like, oh, I got to do a parasite cleanse. Well, you kill the parasites. The parasites are the big mop that mop up all of the heavy metals, which women with breast implants and just anybody today, I'm saying breast implants, but all of us are exposed to more heavy metals today than ever.
Yes. Not
safe. And I constantly see these on lab reports, and people are like, I'm depressed, I'm exhausted, I don't know why, I've got memory issues, I've got low sex drive. And I'm like, well, no wonder why. You've got heavy metals through the roof, and that cannot be detected on a blood test. No way. Yeah. So doctors today in allopathy do not have the proper functional diagnostic lab tests to look underneath. You are like this big, beautiful iceberg. They're looking up here at what they can see. Underneath is all of these root causes. If they fix your root cause, there's no more profit for them. Right. So the parasites go through and they mop up all of the heavy metals. So if you go on a parasite cleanse without addressing the metals, then it's like a piñata. You go in and smack the bat at the piñata and it blows up all this candy. That's like the parasite to the heavy metals. So you got to address everything at once, because There are bugs that live inside of you that carry toxicity and they release toxins. Our lifestyle is full of toxicity. People can be toxic. Our personal care products can be toxic. And you may have been the victim of a child that was born to a mother that had high levels of metals like lead that are really difficult to clear from the body. So toxins are everywhere. We live in the most toxic time in the world in recorded man history. And if we are not addressing toxicity as the main key root cause of why we suffer, then it's a treadmill for life. And I don't want to see our people going through that.
So this is like this is what I try to convey to people is like detoxing in the proper way is just going to be a part of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
As before, our body would just detox naturally because the liver didn't have too much toxins, but now it's so bombarded with toxins that our liver can't process it. And so what do people need to do as first steps to assess where they're at, and then where do they need to go in order to clear some of these toxins, whether it's mind or, body?
Sure. Okay. Wow. There's so much to go. Okay. Where do I go from here? There's so many different pathways we could go to, right? Oh, I love this question.
Let's stick with what's the first step that they should take in order to clear in these things?
The first step you absolutely need to take is to have a detox mindset. And is to consider, where am I exposed to these toxins? Because I have an ebook called the Top 5 Cleanse Fails and What to Do Instead. And one of them is that you guys go through so much work. I see you guys doing so many cleanses and you're trying to lose weight and you're doing all this good stuff. But the deepest core of it is that we cannot cleanse these things without knowing the source, because if you cleanse, they're just going to come back in again if you don't consider where they're coming from, right?
Right. Yeah.
So this is so big, is to have a cleansed mindset. And what that looks like is to, like I said, look around and go, okay, where have I been exposed to these things, first of all?
Yeah.
And we've got to love our body. We've got to think that I'm adopting this mindset because I want to protect this beautiful temple that I've been gifted. And you may not feel beautiful right now. I get that. But when you start adopting I call it an ABC, always be cleansing mindset, you're not like doing crazy, clay flushes and things all day long and starving yourself and only drinking water for 10 days and going to a cave and like doing headstands and chanting ohms for all day. That's what we used to do. That's not realistic today. What I'm talking about is that every breath, every thought, every bite, every conversation, every bicep curl, everything that you do, you're doing it from a purification perspective, just like Ian drinking his water, perfectly synced with what I'm saying here.
Lime juice.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Totally lime. So it's like, is this bite, is this breath, is this person, is this healthy for me, or is this harmful to me? So we're not always going to be perfect. I don't do things 100% of the time. Like, give yourself a little bit of a grace, 80-20, right? And there's certain things within that 20% that are just like, if you were going to splurge, like I'm drinking coffee right now. I don't drink coffee that often, right? Because it can be really harmful to hormones. That's the number one thing that I help women with when I'm looking at hormones, is like, we do urine testing, not blood testing. We look at both. We do urine testing. It's like, whoa, if your adrenals are blown out, if you have low levels of cortisol production, your testosterone levels are low, your estrogen levels are high, your progesterone levels are deficient, you kind of are a mess in here. We got to fix this masterpiece right now. And so we might need to take a break from certain things for a while. But gluten and soy and GMOs and pesticides, like, we just do our best. But like, the non-negotiables for me, I can't have gluten and soy. I just know that. And a lot of women, same. Soy drives up estrogen.
Remove the things that are causing you toxicity.
Yes. Remove them. Remove them from your life, and then also remove them from the insides. So it's the mindset of, and then I would say the third one is to also reprogram. So if we're talking in R's, we cannot cleanse effectively when we have this restriction and we're holding things in. If we're in this fight or flight mode, which is what most of us are in 70% of our day, our subconscious is acting from this space of, oh God, something is coming to hurt me. There's danger, fear. 70% of our day is spent there, and we were not designed for that. So if we have this fight or flight mode and we're in this sympathetic dominant, what we call it in our brain, then we can't release because we're, this is ourselves. Hold on to things. Hold on. So we got to create this parasympathetic rest and digest. Okay, I'm safe. Yeah. I am safe to let go. Then the body goes, okay, we can detox. We can let this shit go.
It's like right? Hoarders are constipated all the time.
Nailed it.
Yeah, they just
nailed it.
Even their own shit.
Literally. And like, I wonder why I'm so constipated. I'm doing all the things. I'm drinking lots of water. I'm exercising. But why am I so constipated? Well, what shit do you need to let go? What stories do you need to let go of? What kind of thoughts, like you said, expectations? What are these things like the shoulds that you're carrying around, the stories, the things that we project onto other people? This is what I work with women on all day long. And this is the one thing that once we can get through a lot of this mindset stuff, then we can finally give ourselves permission to let go and liberate and love and laugh and connect. That's when the magic can happen. So you can do all the best cleanses in the world, the best diets, the best exercise, the best cleanses. Won't work if you don't have your mind on board, because that's 95% of the equation. The biology of belief shows up on the skin of your soul. And that's where it all begins. It all has to go together.
Transformation is, right? True
transformation is when you consider, what am I feeding my mind, body, heart, and soul on a regular basis? And beyond all that, what's this for? If I don't have a reason to get healthy other than just to look good for the outside world, that doesn't speak to your soul. Your soul knows better than that. It's like, what did I come here to do? Why is it important for me to have a lot of energy and vitality? Oh, because I have a beautiful, special, unique message that is stamped on my soul to share with the world. And it is selfish if you're not taking care of yourself first, because you cannot express that message to anybody.
Yeah. So how does someone find out their soul calling? Some people might listen to this and be like, I was put here for something. Like, what is my soul here for? Like, they're just not intuitive, or they're not connected, or they're just on their journey of finding out, like, what can give them a catalyst to really dive deep into that and understand why they're here? Totally.
First of all, if your dream isn't bigger than your nightmare, then you're going to stay stuck in your suffering.
That's a good point.
So we have to understand that you do have a very important place in this lifetime. And if you're like, here's the puppet again. No, I don't. That will sabotage you every time. And if you don't have curiosity about what your soul goal is, then you're not going to find the clarity of what you came here to do, right? So there has to be, no matter how tired you are, there has to be this deep, burning, yearning desire to know, what am I here for? Yeah. So curiosity all the time. Curiosity is number one that will pull you into the clarity of what your soul goal is. Number two is that we have to, just like you think about your body, like you've got this beautiful sculptor inside. The sculptor is your curiosity. What is it that I can chisel away that's standing in my way from learning who I truly am inside this beautiful whole soul and heart inside of this temple? I just need to get some stuff out of the way. I need to get the debris out of the way. As long as this debris is here, you have too many things distracting you and pulling you away from your innermost calling. Yeah. So we have to cleanse. That's why I said we have to cleanse, so we can turn the lights on. And once the lights start to come on, you start to go, oh, I can see better now. My peripheral, my spiritual IQ is now driving versus my ego IQ. And it's like, wow, oh, now I'm one step closer. But just like pregnancy, you can't force it. You know, doing IVF therapy, doing IVF artificial hormones, it's actually birthing unhealthy children. Just like doing the same thing and forcing your soul goal will birth unhealthy results and consequences in your life, and you're not doing what you're really supposed to do because you're just forcing it. Yeah. So
you fall into like snags and discomforts.
Force or flow. Like you can force it, or you can draw it into you. One of my intentions this morning, I said, is today, what can I focus on? I'm going to focus on what I want to draw into me versus what I want to force from people. And I was like, I'm going to sit back here. I'm a woman. I'm my feminine side is a receiver. So I'm going to say, this is what I want in my life right now. This is what I'm calling into my life. And what I share with everybody that I'm working with, they're like, what do you mean soul goal? Like, how do I find what, like the number one question I get from women is not, how do I fix my hormones? Great. But what for? Like, what's it all for? Yeah. If you want to fix your hormones, cool. I can tell you right now that if you want your thyroid hormone to be working, if you're on a thyroid medication right now, you need to have a healthy liver because you need to have 70% of your T4 is converted into T3 in your liver, which can only get into your cells if it's T3. But T3 can only get into your cells if it's not mucked up with metals and toxicity and xenoestrogens, plastics and parabens and all that junk.
Gender-bending hormones.
What?
Gender-bending hormones.
Absolutely, which all of us are like, hi, I want to lose weight. What? Well, how much toxicity, how many xenoestrogens do you have inside of you? Because if you have these things that look just like estrogen that are binding up the receptor sites, then your body just keeps saying grow stuff, grow fat, grow things. So we need to clear the toxicity. So we cannot land on our soul goal as long as we're toxic. So going back to soul goal is that, yeah, we can fix your hormones, but bioidenticals are not going to do anything as long as you're super toxic. And we can't get to your soul goal as long as you're super toxic, right? Yeah. So your soul goal, what is my purpose? 3 things. What am I deeply curious about? What am I deeply passionate about? And what am I deeply pissed about? Angry. Yeah. Like you and I, Ian, you're doing this summit because you're like, I cannot stand to see the world as it is today. Right. We need love. We need healing. How do we do this? So you're clearly deeply passionate and curious and angry. Yeah. Spells PAC, P-A-C. Passionate, angry, curious. Tupac. I'm all of this. That is where you will find. I got chills on the right side of my body.
Yeah, I felt that
is. That's where you will find your soul goal. And then the 4th one is a little bonus. What am I good at? You don't have to be good at it, but that's what we all think. We need to be good at something to do it. Yeah. But you get good at something because you're passionate, angry, and curious about it. And it is there when you have the vitality and the clarity and you have the energy to pursue that soul goal, it will find you. You will draw it in. You can't force it. So all of these roadblocks stand in your way of discovering the work that you came here to do. And so when you remove the obstacles, the toxins, the gut bugs, and I say it's like toxicity, infection, trauma, and shame. And that spells T.I.T.S. And I'm working with women to help clear, their toxicity, which is breast implants. That's not the only thing we do, but that's part of what we do. And that's where you will find you. You will find yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So the soul is an awesome subject, and I might want to bring it back to that. But before we get into that, I want to speak about medical bills because one thing that drives me insane because I do fitness and wellness and health, and a lot of times people come in and they're like, "Oh, that's too expensive," and then they drive off in their Mercedes or something, and I'm like, "Well, you care more about your car." And the truth of the matter is, if you don't do this stuff now, you're going to end up paying 100 times more. So you were a financial advisor, so you actually got to see, before you did this, you got to actually see people's books and what they were spending on medical bills. So can you go into that a little bit?
I would love to. This is okay. If someone is living in a lack mindset, it will become their greatest expense later on. So the expectation, going back to what you said earlier, that doctors will fix me, I shouldn't have to pay for my health on my own, insurance should cover this, right. I shouldn't have to suffer, all of these rules so many people carry because we've been programmed to believe that, insurance should take care of everything.
Yes, yep.
That's like saying, my mom should have taught me everything I know about hormones.
Right.
Your mom's doing her best. She didn't know. So really get curious about the shoulds and the rules and the stories that you're caring about this stuff, because this is the biggest one I see that we sabotage with is that, doctors should have all the answers. And I'm just going to keep going back. That's the definition of insanity. So that's number 1. Right. Number 2 is that when I was a financial planner and I owned a practice for 7 years, almost 8 years, what I saw the most is that, and what I learned then, is that the number 1 reason for bankruptcy today is financial crisis and unexpected medical bills.
Yes.
unexpected medical bills. And I would see 50,000, 100,000, 1 million.
That's so crazy.
I still see it. 5 years ago, I was working with a holistic doctor in Orange County here, referred someone to me, one of his patients. And, he knows that I do deep dive detox and deep dive functional lab work and hormonal assessments. And that's not the work that he does. He was a concierge doctor and he charges $2,500 a month just to have access to him, right? That's where our future is that if you want real answers, you go to doctors like that. And even still, this doctor referred his patient to me. This patient had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and worked with the best of doctors in Los Angeles. He lives in Orange County. Cedars-Sinai, didn't matter. They had spent over $1 million in different scans, CAT scans, brain analysis. It didn't matter what it was. They still didn't know the root cause because they're, again, looking up here, right? So he came to me and we found some pretty basic toxicity issues that he had. I mean, basic to me, but not, to the outside world. They would be like, I don't know what to do with this stuff. Right. And, we would hear people going to do chelation therapy when the body's not ready for that either. That becomes very, very expensive. Chelation therapy is very expensive when the hormones are not even ready to detox that much. So that's just, again, forcing toxins out. Yeah. So what I would see is that people, when we think that we are invincible, and this is what I saw in my practice when I was a financial planner all the time, we don't think that death is going to happen to us. We run from it. We inject things in our face to delusionally believe that we're not aging. We have to accept reality, and that is that we are going to get sick, we are going to die, and we are going to need to depend on other people.
Right.
Those are the things that we fear the most. Yeah. So what we tend to fear, we draw near, and it happens to us, and we feel a victim to it, but we're a victim of our beliefs. Right. So what I would see is that, I have to look at these people's portfolios, and I want you guys to think about your future, that if you're not thinking about your future, that you will have to depend on other people. And I see this as the biggest energy and money suck that people have to address with their parents.
Right.
So you don't get long-term care insurance. You don't get disability insurance. You're not saving for, most of us, like 90% of people plus, are one paycheck away from complete bankruptcy or financial lack.
No, it's crazy.
It's insane. Yeah. And people think, gallbladder removal, that costs $15,000 now. And most insurance policies are not covering that. And to work with someone like me or Ian, to work with someone like myself, it's $6,000, but it helps you save the ton of money that you're going to have to spend down the road. People, think about this. I learned about opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is this. You can either there's three options. You can keep doing what you're doing and do nothing different.
Yep.
Okay. Well, what's that going to get you? It's more of the same and worse. Most people are like, oh, well, everything's kind of okay. I'm okay with being kind of okay. I'm not going to spend $6,000 because I'm okay with feeling just okay. Okay, well, that's not the people that you and I work with, Ian. Then there's someone that's like, well, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do a cleanse, spend $100, do a little bit of something. I'm going to do it for a month, and I'm going to go back to my old lifestyle. That could actually make you worse because now you just dislodged all these toxins, and they're running around your body, and they can go up your brain and make things worse. Yes. The third option is to go, you know what? I could either spend $200 a month on supplements, $500 a month on trainer, $250 a month on insurance. It may not get me anywhere. That's $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year. And I could maybe I'll spend $10,000 a year, maybe $6,000, maybe even $3,000, and I'll feel 10% better. Multiply that by however many years that you need to do that. And now we're talking $2,000, $6,000, $10,000 over 10 years. We're talking $20,000, $60,000, $100,000, where you could have worked with someone and said, here's all the secrets, here's all the stuff. And you do it once and you learn how to be your own best healer by addressing mind, body, spirit, heart. When I was a financial planner, I saw so many people just ignoring that. I saw the divorces happening, $100,000 plus on divorces, children who are now suffering because of the separations. We cannot think and we can't ignore what's inevitable. Yeah. We're going to die. We're going to get sick. We're going to depend on people. So let's just sandwich that in there and just say, hey, we're all going to deal with it, but I want to address it now.
It comes back again to acceptance, right?
Yeah.
Accepting the reality and responsibility. So back to the soul thing. So one of the main things that I want people to take away from this is action steps that they can do right now that will improve their life? Like if they were watching this right now, what are the action steps that they could take that will, like the lowest hanging fruit, that will improve their life, improve their mind, their body, their hormones, whatever it might be?
Sure, man. For me, I go straight to the heart of the matter, which is to your heart. And that is to really sit back and do the heart work and the hard work, what we call the shadow work. And that is, what are the 6 stories that I'm carrying around about myself? That's the biggest one. Did I grow up with a mother that was sick all the time? So I learned by association that in order to fit into that family, I had to adopt a sick mindset. Because the crab pot theory says, is this one crab among a pot wants to climb out of the pot, and everybody else goes, how dare you make me look bad about myself? How dare you expose my inaction with your action? Oh, hell no. And the community pulls the crab back down and says, nope, you're going to be average with everybody else.
Yeah.
And you go, well, that's kind of embarrassing. That's kind of uncomfortable. I just need to fit in. So as long as you're carrying stories around that you deserve to be sick, you're just not going to get better. So that's harder work, maybe not the low-hanging fruit, but that's what I call the most effective and maybe easiest to do depending on who you are.
Yeah.
I would say that one is that fits in the square of, there's 4 squares. One is the easiest to do, biggest impact. The next square is biggest impact, maybe not so easiest to do. So that's the one I just covered. The other 2 we won't cover. Easy to do, no impact. Hard to do, no impact. Let's not even focus on those squares.
Right.
Easiest to do, big impact would be really look at the areas in your life, like we talked about earlier, that are adding toxicity to your life.
Yeah.
That would be the things that you're slathering on your body, the fluoride in your toothpaste, the parabens in your personal care products, the pesticides on your conventionally raised produce, the hormones and antibiotics and the processed meats that you're consuming, the people in your life that you're allowing to suck you dry, but you're giving yourself away because of a lack of self-worth about yourself, the job that sucks you dry. Like 80% of people hate their job.
Right.
That's a big one. That's probably more in the harder to do the category though. So most people like to focus on this easy to do stuff, which is I'm going to do cleanse, I'm going to drink more water, I'm going to eat healthier, I'm going to work out, but that still is not going to bring you across the finish line. So between those 2, the toxicity, the infection, the gut infection, those 2 that are easier to do versus the other 2 that are harder to do but big impact, the trauma and shame.
It's called Ketchik Credo. This guy, David Ketchik, he said, life is easy when you live it the hard way. Life is hard when you live it the easy way. And this is a guy that got paralyzed at a certain age and was running like 3 major companies. And
that's a good quote.
From his brain. And so that correlates to exactly what you're saying, right? So like,
the
hard work now, it's not really that hard. It's just sitting down and doing it.
Right.
Life becomes easier. Right?
Yes.
You're talking about sitting down, finding out what's in your heart, and writing down the stories that don't serve us. Is that correct?
Yes. And here's the thing, Ian. This is too hard to do alone. You will not do this alone. Mm-hmm. So my best advice for everybody is to get help and be ready to receive.
Yes.
Like really get help. So I played professional soccer, as you mentioned earlier. I watched the Women's World Cup team a couple weekends ago, and my friend Megan Rapinoe, who a lot of people have all this controversy about, whatever. And I'm not saying I have one side or the other. I'm just saying I played with her for 6 years. She was, shy then, and she was a great player. Okay, I'll stop at that. But my point is that I was bred to be a player, to be an athlete, to work with people. Yeah. To raise up other people and allow myself to be risen up. So I don't do well on my own. We as social creatures do not do well in isolation. That is the ego's job, is to make you feel like you are alone, that your symptoms are unique, that you suffer in silence. Screw that. Ask for help. That is the least weak thing that you can do. Ask for help. Be willing to receive. Be willing to do the work on your own so that you don't need to continue to ask for help so much in the future because you realize that you are your own best support structure. But you see all these books behind me? These are called shelf help books. You read them, they sound great in theory. It's a lot of knowledge and wisdom, or it's a lot of knowledge but not wisdom. Yeah. It's like intelligence. It's information, but it's not transformation. Right. So information is great, but you turn it into transformation when you allow someone to say, can you help me walk around these booby traps so I don't fall down the holes myself and have to suffer so much alone? Can you show me how to get there in 3 months instead of 30 years? Can you show me my blind spots? Because all this stuff back here, I'm not going to see this stuff until I have someone in front of me, a coach, to go, hey, check out your reflection. Oh my God, I didn't even know I was doing that. That just saved me. I just heard this yesterday from a client. That just saved me like 30 years of my life. Yep. She was able to forgive her father and finally let go of a story she carried around since she was 11 years old. And now she's like, whoa, I can now let go. Now guess what? She's going to cleanse because she's going to let go of all the shit from her body.
Resentment, poison.
Resentment is total poison. Yeah. So the number one thing I would say among all the pieces of advice I gave today is to get help from a coach that's been there. Get help from someone that can show you the shortcuts. Get help from someone that can show you all of the things to do all at once so it could sink in. Because when you go to try, I got a therapist, I got a doctor, I got a yoga teacher, I got a personal trainer, I got cleansing products, I've got a nutritionist. No one's talking to each other. But when you can actually have someone look at the full big picture and help you put all the dots together like a spider, right, then you could weave the web of wisdom that will bring you to your dreams, and really fast, because otherwise it's really hard to do it alone. It's not fun either.
No, it's not fun. And you can't, and most people will never do it alone. Like I've done it with a coach, and the coach has to like kind of a little bit of pushing, a little bit of love, and a little bit of like, hey, this is the reality. This is where you're at. So wake up. Yeah. Awesome. So any last words? I think we're close to, we're about the bottom of the hour. Any last things that you want to tell the audience? If someone's out there suffering, I know first get help, right? Remove some of the toxins that you have. And how would they know which ones are toxins? Like where could they find that out? And then also how, if they could, how could they work with you possibly, or where could they find you on social media?
Yeah, just Google unicorn and you'll find me. My inner child loves to play, and I think that we all need to bring play into our life, because as long as we're taking these symptoms and suffering so seriously, we're screwed. We got to play. I mean, when I was doing my parasite cleanses years ago and I saw these long strands of things coming out of my body, I was like, oh my God, this is so weird. And I was like, wow, can I make this weird worm kind of wacky and just play with it and have fun with it? Yeah. They live in all of us, we just have to get humble about this and realize that we're like 98% bug, and the bugs are here to stay. They are what make us up. So gotta have play. We've got to laugh about this stuff, and we've got to stop hoarding our secrets. So that's a big one, is to invite play, into your life. Yeah. And if people want to find me, my name's Diane Kazer. You could Google me, Diane Kazer, Kazer. I'm the only Diane Kazer in the world. I'm sure you'll have links and stuff. What I would say is, if you guys want to have your mind and your heart and your soul blown all at the same time, watch the masterclass that I do. We talk about these top 5 myths in depth, the top 5 breakthroughs that you need to have if you want to really heal your hormones. It starts with cleansing your body, healing your hormones, igniting your life. That's what my program is. It's called CHI, Cleanse Your Body, Heal Your Hormones, Ignite Your Life. Yeah. And Chi is that life force that flows through you, right? So no amount of coffee or energy drink is going to give you the energy that your inner Chi will. Mm-hmm. And if you're not igniting your soul, then you're going to be codependent on things outside of you to give you that energy. And they're 2 totally different things. So I would say it just takes time in our life where we go, I can't live like this anymore. I have been ignoring my intuition, my heart, my soul for too long, and I've had physical symptoms for a long time. I have to face this reality. And if I'm willing to be strong and courageous enough to step outside of my ego to go, no more are you. Yeah. That heart will carry you forward. And once you've made that call and that choice, it doesn't go away. From there, you're soaring. You'll have a little, bit of turbulence in your life, of course, but you'll know how to bring yourself back. Yeah. And you won't have to spend crazy money on all these supplements and therapy, because you become the supplement. You become the therapy. You become the best healer, lover, doctor, and best friend that you will ever have. You could have never found that outside of you, because you were the only one that lives with you for the rest of your life. So why not invest in that person?
Yeah. Awesome. Become the supplement. I like that.
Yeah.
Like a book or something like that.
Yeah, maybe it'll be a book title.
Amazing. This is been mind-blowing stuff. And I hope the listeners got tons of content that you're going to take right now and take action. I would say take action on one thing right now that you can do. And one of the simplest things that I've always found that you mentioned is just start removing the toxins.
Yeah.
Right? The shampoo. Look at the shampoo. Look at your cosmetics.
Yeah. And
it's really easy.
I would add this too at the end, Ian, is that so many people have been so sick and so in silence about this knowledge for such a long time that we don't really have time. If you embark on this journey and go really slow and give yourself the time and just do it in a comfortable pace, you're still inviting illness. Like this, we need to take action now. Yeah. Now. Like if you wait a year or if you just do a little bit here and there, you're guaranteeing yourself sickness, because we're on our way now. Half of people are going to get cancer in this lifetime. Yeah. 80% of people are destined to have autoimmune disease. I mean, these are not small numbers. Yeah. So we've got to wake up.
Lots of suffering.
Lots of suffering. So you just get to pick one. Yeah, and it's all preventable. And really, I cannot emphasize enough, the power of your mind. 60% of drugs are placebo. What does that tell you? It's the biology of belief.
Right.
So we're in a very special time right now where you can almost do this and things show up. And some people may think that sounds crazy, but I'm seeing it all day long. And that's the same thing in our clients. So if you decide that you want to be a warrior over a worrier, that can happen fast. And it doesn't need to take 10 years.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, that concludes the interview with Diane Kazer. And thank you for joining us. And Google you and you'll find Diane Kazer. You're the only one in the world. That's pretty awesome. All right. So we are checking out. Thank you, Diane. Have a great day.
Thanks, Ian. You too.